Hello balloon artists, I really hope you're safe and well. My tutorial this week is a request by the members of my Balloon Artworks Academy Facebook group. I'm going to show you how to make a jungle themed animal centrepiece. It's great for safari parties. Hi, I'm Melanie from Balloon Artworks here in Derbyshire in the East Midlands, helping you take your balloon art to the next level. And whilst you're here, please remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel and activate that notification bell so you don't miss any of my future videos, which I publish on Tuesdays. And this week, I would be really grateful if you would share this tutorial on your social media. I actually filmed this tutorial a little while back, so I'm going to do a quick change. I do recommend when you're making these displays that you start with heat sealing the topper or the head, because if there is a problem with your heat seal, by the time you've gone through the other stages making the display, you will notice the problem with the topper or with the head when you start to assemble the rest of the designs. So I would make this the first thing that you do. I'm going to show you how to heat seal one of the valveless balloons, and this is a 14-inch Qualitex tiger print head. So it's important to notice that this doesn't have a valve, so we're going to air fill it. It's not large enough to float, so it is only air fill, and there is a definite back and front to this balloon. You're going to need an impulse heat sealer, and I set mine to a little bit under 4. Each one of these heat sealers is slightly different, so you do need to calibrate to your own device. But I know that just under 4 is going to be ideal for my heat sealer. Take your hand pump and insert it into the neck of the balloon, okay? And then just air inflate until the balloon is nice and full. Now grip on to that neck and just flatten it out. And all you need to do is just pinch here, and then with your thumb and forefinger on your other hand, just push the air down into the neck of the balloon. So you're trapping the air there inside. And then I'm just going to insert the neck here into my heat sealer, and I'm going to make sure that it's perfectly crease free here. Just going to swap hands and then just press down and hold. Okay, and there you've got a perfectly sealed animal print head. One of the things that I used to do when I first started heat sealing, the advice I was given was to put seals right the way along the length of the neck, which is fine, and if you want to do that, go ahead and do it. If you want to add an extra seal, then you can do that very easily. Just go again. So we've now got 2 seals here, so first one and then a backup for if we need it. But what I would say is if you're making these in advance, you need to think about whether your event might be cancelled, which was the case for one of my events a few years ago. And I'd heat sealed the animal print heads in advance, and I was then left with quite a number that I wasn't going to be able to use, or I needed to use quickly and find a use for them, because I'd sealed right the way along. If you use this method of just sealing at the very end and your event is cancelled, then you can quite simply take a pair of scissors, cut here and deflate, and you can store your balloon, your uninflated, and you've still got plenty of neck here to use if you want to reinflate in the future. And whether you choose to do this, just sealing once or twice at the end, it's really a matter of confidence. If you're confident in your seal and you're confident in your technique, then there's no reason not to try this. But if you're at the early stages of working with these types of balloons and you're not quite confident in what you're doing or the seals that you're making, then making multiple seals right the way along the neck isn't a bad thing to do. For our base, we need 12 11-inch latex balloons, and we begin by double stuffing. So put one on a chopstick and then put the other one over the top and just pull down, and that's your double stuffed balloon. And make another 3 of these. Take your double stuffed balloons and we're going to inflate these to 6.5 inches. Take your balloon and let the air out until it comfortably fits through the aperture in the sizing box, and then give it a twist, and then take your 2 balloons and pull the latex necks over one another, wrap round a couple of times, take the nozzles from the inner balloons and tie together. Okay, and make another one of these. Just round these off and make another one of these. Next, we're going to make balloons sized to 6 inches. So pass them through the aperture, or use your digital inflator, whichever you've got, and wrap those round and tie. So just round them off and make another one of those. Take your duplets and just wrap them together to form a quad or a cluster of 4. So take both your quads or clusters of 4, place them on a table, and with the smaller balloons on top, you just want to swap places with them. So you're pushing the lower layer down and you're bringing the lower layer up. So pushing the upper balloon down and bringing the lower layer up. Okay, and once you've swapped those around, just take 2 balloons from the top, the 2 smaller ones, and swap them round. Okay, and that gives you a really nice base for your design. Next, take a sand weight. So this is 2 double stuffed balloons. I've added sand and I've tied a knot on the inner balloon. And what we want to do is just position this in the lower layer of your base. So take the inner neck and just pull that tight, position your sand weight securely, pull that up through both layers, and then start to figure of 8 that neck around the top layer and go around several times. Okay, so that sand weight is very, very secure now. And always use the same colour of balloon for your sand weight as for your base. For our flower stems, I'm using 260s in 3 different shades of green. So I've got lime green, I've got winter green, and I've got dark green. So these are all Qualitex colours. Inflate to a 2-finger tip, or 2 fingers, it doesn't matter too much. Just let a little bit of air out and then tie a soft knot. And by soft knot, I mean just tie it and don't pull too tightly on the nozzle. Which means that later on, if we need to, we can just roll that knot a little bit and give ourselves a bit more room in the balloon. And then inflate the other 2 colours. So take your greens and compare them in size, and my dark green is quite a bit shorter than the others, so I'm just giving it a bit of a stretch. And then I will roughly compare again. That's giving me a bit of extra length, but it's still quite a bit shorter than the lime green. And then what you need to do is fold your balloons in half. So take your lime green and fold it in half and give it a twist. Okay, so you're splitting that 260. And then take that lime green and just fit it underneath the first layer of balloons, and then when you've done that, just swap those 2 parts of the 260 over. Okay, and then do the same with your other colours, give them a stretch, fold roughly in half, twist the balloon and split it, and then just pass underneath two of those balloons, two of those 11-inch rounds on that top layer, bring them up and just pass them over one another. Okay, and then give your dark green a stretch, give your dark green a stretch, fold in half, split that, and again do the same, just passing underneath two of those balloons in that top layer, and then just pulling them through and crossing over at the centre. Okay, so that's what you've got. Next, I'm going to make some flower heads to go on top of the flower stems, and I'm using a mixture of goldenrod, yellow and orange. So inflate your balloon until you've got a 4 or 5 finger tail, and then tie. Okay? And then we want to make a series of flower petal loops. So just fold your balloon over and catch hold of that knot that you made at the nozzle between your thumb and forefinger. Then just measure a loop of about 4 fingers and then make a twist. Take that nozzle and knot and pass both through to the other side. And that will just ensure that that first flower petal stays in position and doesn't unravel. Give your balloon a little squeeze and then make another bubble of the same size. Okay, so there you go. And then I just like to wrap that nozzle through. Give another little squeeze to your balloon and make another loop to match. Okay, so you're trying as closely as possible to get evenly sized loops. But if they're just a little bit out, don't worry, because nobody's going to notice. And you know, things in nature are not perfect. So just twist those in. So that's a flower of 5 petals. And if you're happy with that, carry on. If you want to make another petal, I've got a little more space in my balloon so I can make a 6. I'm going to just twisting that off and wrapping that through. Okay. And then I'm going to cut off the end. I'm just letting the air out of that. I've made a little hole in the end, and now I'm going to tie a knot. Okay, and then you can wrap that tail through a few times just for added security. Okay, position your loops so that everything sits well, and there's your flower petal. So just take the tip of a 260 and just put a little bit of air in. So these tips are the sorts of things that we hoard, looking for reasons to use them, and this is a perfect opportunity. So just make a little bubble and then take one of your flowers and just wrap that bubble into the centre and then trim off the end. Okay, do that with all the others. So take your flower base and take your flower heads and add those to the flower stems. So just wrap them in. Okay, and work all the way around. And in this instance, where I've got a stem that's quite a bit taller than the others, I just twist off a bubble, pull the neck to give me a bit more space to work, twist off a bubble at the point where I'm happy that it's the right kind of size, and then just trim off the end, and then I will just tie that in a knot. Okay, and then attach the next flower. Okay, so that's all our flower heads attached. For our tiger's body, take a tiger print 5-inch round or an orange 5-inch round and insert that into a quick link diamond clear. Now if you haven't got any quick link diamond clears, don't worry, you can insert a raisin into the tiger print and create the same effect and use a raisin. Okay, and then just inflate that and then use that inner neck from the tiger print to just wrap around and tie. Okay, so that's your tiger's body. Next we're going to need 2 5-inch blacks, onyx black, and just want to inflate those to about 4 fingers or so. And make another one of those. And then with our onyx black, I want to make a split duplet. So put your fingers either side of the nozzle and just twist. And then take that neck and just wrap that round. So you're looking for 2 bubbles of a similar size. And then hold on to those between your little finger and your ring finger. And do the same with the other onyx black. Wrap those round and then take those 2 split duplets and just twist them together to form a cluster of 4 or a quad. Okay. Take a 260 and remove all the air from it and then just tie a knot at the end so you've got a nice long strap. Okay. Fold that in half and then, fold that strap in half and then just make a loop and take your tiger's head and pass that loop over the neck of the tiger's head. Okay, push the air out of the tiger's head, the neck of the tiger's head, so push that back into the head, pull the tails tightly on this 260 and then tie the neck of the tiger's head to the 260. So this is another way of ensuring that you've got a good seal on that head. So this is a very different technique to the one I used to use when I was first using these foils. I would roll up the neck and tie that way, but I've actually found this way gives a much more secure connection. So for airfill designs, this is the method that I now use. Take the cluster of split duplets and just take the tip from that quick link and wrap it into the cluster. Okay, so take the tails from your tiger's head and tie those directly onto the tiger's body using the orange nozzle from the 5-inch tiger print. Okay. And then take all the tails, including the tail from the foil head, and pull them into that cluster of 5-inch rounds and wrap them around a few times. Okay. And position the head. And at this point, you can trim off the 260 black tails. Okay, so this is what you've got so far. So position your tiger alongside your flowers and wrap that orange 260 around the flowers. And make a bubble in that orange 260, twist off a bubble and then wrap it into those split duplets at the neck. I'll just wrap that around a few times. Okay. And then you can cut off this 260 but save what's left. So cut off a section here and save this piece. Okay, and with the tail here, just wrap that around a few times, tie it in a knot. Take that scrap of orange 260 and inflate it almost to the end, and then just tie that off. Okay, and I like to just massage this a little bit just to give it a little bit of a curl. I don't want a tight curl on it, I just want a little bit of movement in that tail. Okay. Next, take a 5-inch black round and inflate that, and then let it down to about 4 fingers or so. Give that a twist, and then take the tip of the orange 260 and tie